Oh, hello. Can we please talk about Week 5 in the NFL? Yeah, it was a good week. It was a very good week for me being a Jets fan. It was a very good week for my fantasy team. Well, more a terrible week for my opponent, which equates to being a good week for me, in effect. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a recap of Week 5, having a little look towards Week 6, having a look at what's going on in the NFL, who's winning, who's losing, who's looking better than we thought. I mean, that Dallas defense, what is going on? What have they put in the water in Dallas? Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, so this is the Burt Locker NFL 2022 Part 5. Okay, so Week 5's Entourage is for basically, I use the cast of Entourage to go through the good players for the winners of each week in the Orion Bowl Fantasy League, and one of the losing team's players who was terrible, just like the character. So let's get started. The Vinny chase this week goes to my man Pat Mahomes. He's the star of the KC offense, and you know what? He's the star of my offense as well in fantasy. He took the Baltimore Ravens to another emphatic victory, putting us into third place, and we're against a, quite frankly, underperforming Indianapolis Colts. Then you've got the Johnny Drama. Has to be Josh Allen, because you know he's the buff one. He's the old school action hero who is just carrying the Bills to win after win, and he's also carried the Gorillas to an emphatic win over Baby Got Dak, and the highest score of the week as well, 136.36. That's pretty good. Congratulations to you. Then you've got the Turtle, i.e. the Better Than Expected award, goes to the Cowboys D. 21 points for the Cowboys D. I don't think most people saw that coming, especially when Dak went down earlier on the season. But I'm fairly sure that they've only allowed like one touchdown per game like this season, which is incredible. They're doing a great job. That takes the Suns to another win over the reigning defending Orion Bowl champions, meaning that the dirty Baltimore Ravens are still the only team to get a win over the Suns this season. The Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven Acting Diverse Range Award goes to Big Leonard Fournette for the team with no name. The team with no name has got a great win last week, and you know what? He was about as diverse as it gets for a running back. He only did 56 yards rushing, got a rushing touchdown, but then he did 83 yards receiving and got a receiving touchdown as well. He's a dual threat. He's a really great option. I'm sorry to not have him on my lineup this year. I'm sorry I lost faith, Len, but yeah, he's doing work on that team with no Namath. And then you've got the Terribleness Award goes to Tonyan this week, because he was really poor. Actually, the Packers were pretty poor against, they had an alright first half, because I was at the game last week watching the Packers against the Giants. It was really good fun. I did think the Packers had a decent first half, but they threw that away in some style, and Tonyan was just more or less non-existent. So yeah, anyone that played Tonyan, including my opponent last week in fantasy, were very disappointed in you. So let's have a look at a quick league update as we approach the halfway point of the season. It's a very closely run contest once again. You've got the Suns up at the tippy top at 4-1. Then you've got the next four teams all on 3-2. The Baltimore Ravens, my team, I should add, do not deserve to be there. They have the second lowest points scored, so they shouldn't be in the top three. It's just that's ridiculous. The Gorillas are still in the hunt at 2-3, and they are coming off a win. Then you've got the Indianapolis Colts and the Legion of Trash, who are not looking brilliant, but it is still early days. It's time to right the ship, and to be fair, I should be right there with you in the bottom three, because my team have only, like, when you look at the actual points scored, I think I've got unfortunate with some people putting up some crappy performances. My D has been stepping up, as it were. So my takeaways from Week 5 is Jets, Jets, Jets. Man, they played well. I mean, obviously a divisional game against the Dolphins. The Dolphins, without Tua, I think, or Tua went out early. Either way, but the Dolphins are a good team. To be 3-2 on the season now, and to have a win against a divisional rival, that's huge for the Jets. If you'd have told me that was on the cards, I'd say get out of my office. But it's not just that. The Jets are playing good football as well. Like, you watch, their offense is ticking. I think Sauce got his first interception on the season as well. The defense is clicking. The offense is clicking. It's a nice time to be a Jets fan. Do I think that we're going to the Super Bowl? Who knows? 100 to 1. That's worth £1. I put £1 on that. I mean, that's obviously the Super Bowl's a long way away, and obviously you're dreaming if you think the Jets are going to be there. But for the time being, they're playing good football. They're being very competitive. They've got a winning record, and that for a Jets fan is basically, that's the dream right there. And then you've got the Dallas Cowboys as well. They might be the real deal. They're only 20 to 1 to get to the Super Bowl now. And that defense, that they have showed up. They are doing a great job. They're really allowing very few points past them, which is what your defense is there for, let's be fair. And the Chiefs D, on the other hand, is completely woeful. I mean, they're like a sieve. It's a good job that the offense puts up silly numbers every week. Otherwise, Kansas City would be in real trouble. And this week, I've got my anytime touchdown bet. Basically, I'm betting on all of my opponent's players to score and also Kittle. I think Kittle has a big game this week. I think he's trending towards getting back to those numbers that he used to see back in like the 2019 season. He's just gradually getting more receptions. He's got Garoppolo thrown to him. He's against Atlanta, who traditionally, they let up points to everybody, to be fair. So I think Kittle should have a big game this week. So I bet on Kittle, Barkley, Hill, Eno Benjamin, Isaiah McKenzie, and Austin Eckler all to score anytime. That's 133 to 1. That is terrible. Pop it in the comments who you're betting on. I always like to see it. So let's take a quick look at our preview for week 6 in the Orion Bowl in Fantasy NFL. We'll have a look at what some of the matchups are doing. So Baltimore Ravens versus the San Diego Harlots. Both teams are 3-2, but I'm on a two-win streak. The Harlots are coming off a big loss. Now, the website predicts the Harlots win, and I do not disagree with that, honestly. Geno Smith versus Arizona might be a genius move, honestly. I don't know how healthy Herbert is. He's had that rib thing, so I don't know if my opponent is benching him for that reason. He doesn't have a questionable designation, but he definitely isn't quite all there. Mahomes technically has a bad matchup according to the algorithms, but that game should be a shootout. That's going to be big numbers. Like the KC put up big numbers on offense, they let up a lot of numbers on defense, but that means if you've got Pat Mahomes, you probably should be playing Pat Mahomes. Jonathan Taylor is a game time decision. I'm not 100% sure on whether I'd play him anyway, honestly, because they're against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who shut them out last time. They've probably still got PTSD from that day. The Colts are a dead team right now. They need to find some fucking form. I picked up Breece Hall at the Jets because I believe that is a big upgrade on Zeke, if I'm totally honest. I'm trying to find somebody to cover the gap. Javonte Williams is obviously on injured reserve, and obviously Taylor's a game time decision. But as I mentioned, I'm not 100% sure I'll be playing him anyway. Now, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I do think the old Kittle is going to be back this week. He's trending towards a big game. The Eagles' defensive matchup is a worry for me, honestly. But it is a Harlots B team, technically. Now, the Harlots B team is still strong. You've got Saquon Eckler. Hill should do some numbers. The Harlots usually put up 140 points without even thinking about it, and my team struggles to hit 90. So the Harlots should win this one pretty easily. And when they do, I'll present the crown. Queen of the Harpies! Here's your crown, your majesty. Yeah, because I will be sitting watching the games with the coach of the Harlots, so it's going to be a tough one to lose. But then you've got the Colts versus Baby Got Dak. Now, I'll start off with the Bears D have done an alright job for the Colts so far, and I do like the Brady-Evans double up versus the Steelers. Waddle surely has a better game than he does last week. It couldn't get a lot worse. And Metcalf is looking like a better option every week. Najee Harris should also have a big game, I think. He should have a better game than last week anyway. But again, that won't be difficult because last week he did not do really anything. But on the other side, however, you've got Chubb, Sanders, Murray, all with nice matchups. Throw Kelsey into that mix as well. It's very tough for me to see Baby Got Dak losing this matchup. I am picking Baby Got Dak to beat the Indianapolis Colts, and it's going to be... the season's not looking great for the Colts right now, but I'm sure there's time to turn it around. They'll right the ship. Then you've got the coach's sons versus the team with no Namath. You've got a nice matchup for Lamar. Hurts has a tough matchup against the Dallas D, who have only allowed 1 touchdown per game so far this season, as I mentioned. So Fournette is looking like the Bucs' best option and is looking like the team with no namer's best option. He's looking like one of their better receiving options, and he's obviously their lead running back. That's a huge, huge feather to have in the cap of any fantasy team right now is Big Len. Stephon Diggs is looking good as well. I'm not sure about playing Singletary in the flex there. I think that there's too much run by committee for the Bills for my liking, so you just don't know who's going to be getting the most snaps and who's going to end up in the end zone. Bit of a risk there. I'm not sure about the Suns' strategy playing their quarterback versus their D. I always find that's a bad move. The Cowboys' D look extremely good, but then again, Hurts and the Philly offense are cooking right now. So we'll see how the Dallas defense do against an offense that are really on form. For me, Namath has the better matchups, and I think he finds the win this week. I think that he takes the coach's Suns off the top spot, takes them down a peg, brings them down here with the rest of us. Yeah, get it done, Namath. Go get them. You go get them. Then you've got the Dana Stray Gorillas against the Legion of Trash. Now, Monty did not have a great game on Thursday. The game itself was pretty fucking trash, honestly. It wasn't a good game to watch. Burrow and Mixon against New Orleans, they should have solid numbers. New Orleans tend to let a few points up. Cooper Kupp is obviously the only option in LA, and really, he's going to have a good game no matter what happens. The Gorillas draft looked good last week. You got Allen, Kansas City D. Allen against Kansas City is good for 35 points. Easily, because like Kansas City defense, it's like a sieve. Like they let up points and just know that Mahomes will go out there and just put up more points. That's their strategy. I don't know how long that's good for, but that's their strategy at the moment. Cook and Kamara are good for 40 points between them. Gabe Davis seems to have found some form since leaving the Baltimore Ravens in disgrace. Pittman versus the Jags D. I do not like the Colts. They're a dead team at the moment, and the Jags shut them out last time. I do not like putting Pittman in against the Jags D. I just don't think there's a lot of points to be had there, honestly. For the Legion of Gloom, I would take the Carolina D over the Rams D on current form. The Carolina D, they are actually available. I'd pick them up over the Rams D. I think the Rams D have been... There's too many potential for disasters there. So I would take out the Bills D and Kansas City put up points on and let their D... Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, Kansas City's defense, it is a sieve. It's an absolute sieve. So, look, as long as you've got Josh Allen in there, I think you're all right. I don't think you need to take the Bills D out. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I don't know if I'll play the Bills D in that matchup because they're gonna let up points and that's bad for a defense, obviously. So for me, just because you've got the Allen versus the sieve of the Kansas City defense, I'm taking the Gorillas in this matchup. I think they're going to take the Legion of Trash out, taking out the trash. And yeah, it's going to put Legion and Colts firmly at the bottom of the table. That is my predictions for this week. So, obviously, lots to play for. Best of luck to everybody this week. And look, those that I've picked to win, prove me right. Those that I've picked to lose, prove me wrong. See you next time.